So I got ghosted. You know, that thing where someone decides to poof out of your life without a single explanation. And I get it. Breakups are hard. But come on, people, it's 2025. We've invented all sorts of ways to communicate. Texting, calling, emails, carrier pigeons. Okay, maybe not that last one, but you get my point. And it's funny because I knew it was happening. You always know. There's a distinct pattern. The replies get slower. Then you get hit with the final boss of ghosting. You see, haha, yeah, in a text, and you might as well start planning the funeral for this conversation. It's dead. It has ceased to be. It has shuffled off this mortal coil and joined the choir invisible. AKA, the emotional equivalent of uninstalling someone from your life. If you don't know what ghosting is, congratulations. You are either a newborn or a monk. Ghosting is when someone suddenly stops replying to you forever, with no explanation, no closure, and no evidence they ever existed. One day, you're having a great conversation, maybe even flirting a little, maybe talking about deep life stuff, maybe just sharing your love of capybaras, and then nothing. That is ghosting.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
And thanks to the wonderful world of technology, it's easier than ever to pretend another human being never existed. We used to have to actually look people in the eyes and reject them like normal, awkward humans. Now, one button. Boom. Gone. Honestly, it's impressive. Now, the big question. Why did I get ghosted? What catastrophic mistake did I make? Did I accidentally insult their childhood pet? Did I use the wrong emoji? I don't think I did anything wrong. Because ghosting isn't about you. 99% of the time, it's not personal. And yet, when you're on the receiving end of a ghosting, your brain is like, you are the worst person alive. Everyone hates you. Remember when you called your teacher mom in 3rd grade? Yeah, this is worse than that. And the worst part about ghosting, the void. No explanation, no reasoning, just pure silence. So your brain has nothing to work with, which means it fills in the gaps with the worst possible scenarios. Ghosting can indicate difficulty managing uncomfortable emotions. For some people, ghosting could reflect low self-esteem or a lack of confidence in expressing their feelings. They might worry they'll say the wrong thing, so they opt to say nothing at all. For some ghosters, past trauma might play a role if someone has experienced relationships that were overly demanding or emotionally exhausting. AKA, the ancient art of avoiding awkwardness at all costs. Humans are cowards. I mean, let's be honest, actually telling someone you don't want to talk to them anymore is
horrifying.
You know what's way easier? Nothing. Nothing is so easy. It's effortless. If ignoring messages was a sport, humans would have Olympic gold medals. A 2018 study found that people with stronger destiny beliefs were 63% more likely to say ghosting was acceptable in a long-term relationship. 63%! That's a lot of people saying, hey, I'll just disappear instead of having a tough conversation. A survey of 1,300 people revealed that about 25% had been ghosted by a partner, while 20% admitted to ghosting someone themselves. And when it comes to friendships, the numbers are even higher. Here's the thing. Everyone thinks ghoster will respond eventually. Boo, they won't. They tell themselves, oh, they'll text me back later. Then later becomes tomorrow. Then tomorrow becomes never. It's the same way people leave emails unopened because responding feels like a chore. It's the same way we walk past someone we kind of know and suddenly get super interested in our phone. Avoidance is human nature, which brings us to ghosting doesn't solve anything. For the ghosted, it's not just about the unanswered texts or the blue ticks that haunt your dreams. It's the self-doubt spiral, the overthinking, and the constant replaying of every conversation like it's a Netflix series you're trying to analyze for plot holes.
Did I say something cringe? Was my meme too niche? Am I just mid?
Studies show ghosting can lead to feelings of rejection, abandonment, and anxiety. So yeah, it's not just a bad breakup move. It's a full-on emotional jump scare. Wait, did they just forget? Maybe they're busy? Or maybe they're just vibing without me? Nah, they'll totally respond. Any minute now. Maybe their Wi-Fi is broken, or their phone died, or they got abducted by aliens. Maybe I scared them off. Maybe I was too enthusiastic. Maybe I'm fundamentally unlovable. Whatever, I don't even care. Spoiler, you care. A lot. But you'll post a cryptic Spotify playlist about it instead of admitting it. Until they randomly text you months later with, "Hey, how have you been?" And your brain short circuits like a glitching Snapchat filter. Ghosting sucks because it doesn't just end a conversation, it leaves a weird emotional crater. It makes you question yourself, your worth, and why humans are like this. But hey, at least you'll have material for your next sad girl autumn Pinterest board. So I was just casually being ghosted for the 5th time this month. And boom! Welcome to today's episode. We're diving into the art of vanishing texts with my guest and fellow ghosting survivor, Aiden. Okay, so you know that feeling. You're like really clicking with someone, maybe you've had a few great chats, things feel good, and then poof, nothing.
Radio silence.
Exactly, just, gone. We're talking about ghosting today. It's a word we hear all the time, but man, the feeling behind it can be, well, surprisingly intense.
Yeah, it really can. And what's super interesting looking at the stuff we read is just how deep that silence cuts. Yeah, it's really not just, oh, they didn't text back.
No, not at all.
There's this whole emotional journey involved. So our plan today is to kind of dig into that, get past the surface annoyance, and really try to figure out what's going on psychologically when someone ghosts.
Yeah.
And maybe how you handle it when it happens to you.
Absolutely. It's way more than just, bad dating etiquette, though it is about too. Oh, for sure. The sources we look at really zeroed in on that feeling of being left completely in the dark. You start questioning everything. You're replaying conversations like some kind of forensic analyst. And one thing that really stood out was this very modern worry about being seen as, well, mid.
Ah, yeah.
That one had this whole other layer, like not only did they vanish, but maybe it's because you were just average. I'm remarkable. Ouch!
Yeah, ouch is right. And if you look at the psychology behind it, it starts to make sense why it's so unsettling. Some of the research actually compares ghosting to ambiguous loss. Ambiguous loss. I can't think about it. A loss without closure. There's no clear ending, no explanation. And that's what causes so much distress. There's this psychologist, Dr. Jonas Wildhauer. She talks about how uncertainty is like a massive stress trigger for our brains. We hate not knowing. It makes us feel out of control.
Right, control.
And ghosting throws you right into that uncertainty pit. And is you hanging, basically. One source even called it a low-key psychological ambush.
Low-key psychological ambush. I like that, but kind of nails it. It feels sneaky somehow.
It does, blindsided.
So, to help us kind of map this out, the sources talked about these 5 stages of being ghosted. Like a guide through the wreckage, maybe?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
A framework for the feelings.
Okay, so let's start with stage 1, confusion. This is that did we just forget moment.
The benefit of the doubt stage.
Exactly. Your first thought isn't necessarily negative. It's, oh, maybe their phone died. Or we got slammed at work. Something totally normal.
You're grasping for logical reasons.
And you're constantly checking your phone. Right. That little buzz gives you a split second of hope.
Only for it to be a pizza coupon notification.
Totally. Crushing disappointment, but underneath there's still that little flicker that hope they'll pop up any second.
Yeah, that initial confusion is just our brain trying to make it make sense, isn't it? We look for patterns, reasons. Silence doesn't fit.
Right, so we invent reasons that are maybe less painful.
It's almost like self-protection, shielding yourself from the potential hurt.
Which makes sense, leading right into stage 2. Denial. This is where you really double down on the excuses. No way they liked me. They'll definitely respond.
The mental gymnastics phase.
Seriously, dead phone, work catastrophe, maybe even, I don't know, temporary alien abduction, whatever works.
You'll clutch at anything.
And you might even, type out a super casual text. You know, hey, just checking in.
And then delete it immediately.
Yeah, because what if you seem too clingy? Or desperate?
It's that internal battle, isn't it? Hope versus that creeping dread that maybe it is intentional.
You're trying so hard to keep the positive scenario alive.
Yeah, avoiding that potential pain of rejection,
Or
resisting the idea that the silence means something bad about, you or the connection. Those deleted texts, perfect example of that conflict. You want to reach out, but you're scared of the silence confirming your fears.
ha. Okay, so after denial comes. Stage 3, overthinking. And this is where it can get dark. OMG, it's me on the problem vortex.
The self-blame spiral.
Totally. Suddenly, every single thing he said or did is under this intense microscope. Was that joke dumb? Did I talk too much? Not enough. Was I boring? Too needy?
Become your own worst critic, dissecting everything.
And then comes the, maybe less than healthy social media check.
Oh dear. The stalking phase.
So you just want to see if they have, fallen off the earth. But nope. There they are, posting memes, liking photos, clearly alive and well. Just, not responding cue.
Which feels like a punch to the gut, right? Because it blows all your denial excuses out of the water.
Completely. And even if your friends are saying, dude, it's not you, it's them, inside that little voice is whispering, but what if it is moo?
That's the uncertainty doing its work again. With no answers from them, where else do you look but inward?
Right. You need an explanation.
And self-blame is, weirdly, a kind of explanation. It gives you a sort of twisted sense of control back, even if it feels awful. Like, if I figure out what I did wrong, I can fix it next time.
Yeah, that makes grim kind of sense. Okay, so moving on. Stage 4, acceptance, but with a question mark. Well, maybe parentheses. Acceptance, well, kind of the performative stage almost. Yeah, the whatever, I don't even care anymore performance. You start blasting those I Will Survive playlists.
Posting vague, better off without you type stuff online.
Exactly. Projecting this image of being totally cool, totally unbothered. You tell everyone you're over it.
But underneath, maybe not so much. There's still that little sting, right?
Yeah.
That bitterness.
Oh, definitely. It's often just a protective shell. You're trying to convince yourself as much as anyone else.
That kind of is key. It's superficial acceptance. Inside, you might still feel pretty dismissed or, frankly, annoyed. And that's okay. It's a natural reaction to being treated poorly.
Great. Okay, finally. Stage 5. Moving on until you doubt.
The zombie text stage.
Yeah. Just when you feel like you're actually genuinely getting over it. Maybe even deleted their number feeling good.
Ping a random hey who appears on your screen after weeks or months of silence.
Exactly. Oh, cool. Now you text me and suddenly, whoosh, you're sucked right back into the confusion, the hurt, maybe even back to stage 1.
It completely disrupts any progress you've made. It reopens everything.
Yeah, the sources were really clear. Ghosting almost never gives you real closure. That random reappearance just twists the ice sometimes.
And it shows such a lack of consideration, doesn't it? Like they think they can just dip in and out without acknowledging the impact of their vanishing act.
Seriously, it really does hurt more than we maybe admit, you know? It feels so personal.
Does it catch right into those core human needs, wanting connection, wanting to feel liked, validated.
And when someone just cuts that off without a word, you can't help but question yourself. Your worth, your likability.
Yeah, hi there.
Not worked at respond.
And the whole digital dating world, well, it hasn't helped, has it?
Not with this, no. It's made it easier to connect initially, sure, but also maybe easier to just disappear. Like accountability, maybe.
I think so. That screen provides a buffer. It feels less direct, perhaps easier for the person doing the ghosting to avoid an awkward conversation.
But definitely harder for the person on the receiving end. That silence feels amplified somehow online.
Very real emotional consequences, even if the interaction was mostly digital.
Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom, right? The sources did mention maybe finding some silver linings, if you squint.
Huh. You know, maybe after the dust settles a bit. He talked about resilience, for instance.
Right, like getting through it makes you stronger, and you start to realize, okay, if my value isn't actually tied to whether this one person texts me back.
Exactly. It can be a tough lesson, but a valuable one. Building that emotional strength.
And boundaries, too. It can make you better at spotting red flags next time.
Like maybe someone who seems allergic to difficult conversations. Or someone who seems a bit too perfect right away.
Yeah, those avoidance patterns. It can sharpen your instinct.
And, self-reflection came up too. It can actually prompt you to think, okay, what do I really want in a connection? Was that person even right for me anyway? Maybe the silence was weirdly a favor.
Ooh, interesting take. Maybe dodging a bullet you didn't see coming.
Could be.
Huh.
And on a lighter note, one source mentioned the coping mechanism of creating epic comeback playlists.
Hey, whatever works, right? Music therapy.
Can't argue with a good playlist.
So I guess, wrapping this all up, ghosting sucks. Let's be real. It's a genuinely tough thing to go through, leaves real emotional mark.
Absolutely. It's not trivial.
But the big takeaway, the thing that kept coming up in everything we looked at, is that it says way more about the person doing the ghosting than the person being ghosted.
100%. It often points to their issues, maybe poor communication skills, maybe emotional immaturity, maybe a lack of empathy.
It's their way of avoiding discomfort, but it dumps all that discomfort onto you.
You, precisely. It's an avoidance tactic that creates pain for someone else.
So seriously, if you've been ghosted, if you're sitting there snaring at an unanswered message right now, please hear this. Your worth is totally, completely intact.
It really is.
It has nothing to do with someone else's inability to just communicate. Try to use it if you can as fuel for self-awareness, figure out what you learned, and keep moving. Your value isn't defined by silence.
Well said. Don't let someone else's disappearing act dim your shine, you know?
So, did this video hit you right in the existential dread of modern dating? If you've ever stared at a haha yeah text like it's a cryptic alien message, smash that like button. It's the digital equivalent of screaming, same. And hey, if you want more brutally honest takes on love, chaos, and why humans are like this, subscribe. Because let's be real, your algorithm is currently feeding you nothing but trauma memes and unhinged TikTok theories. Let's upgrade that. Ghosting isn't just a dating trend, it's a cultural symptom. We're all out here treating people like expired Netflix subscriptions, swiping left on accountability because avoidance is free. But imagine a world where we could just say, hey, this isn't working, without dissolving into a puddle of guilt. Wild concept, right? Until then, keep your DMs fearless, your closure clean, and your vibes unghostable. P.S. If you've ever ghosted someone and regretted it, no, you didn't. This is a judgment-free zone. Mostly.